This is Mrs. Tackett, Cereal Box Project. You are a product. This is Mrs. Tackett, Cereal Box Portfolio. You are a product designer who is trying to reduce the material cost on the container for a cereal product by reducing the surface area and thus the amount of product required for the container. You will copy pictures and drawings to a Word document and save the final copy as a PDF with your last name and the cereal box. So getting a Word document out and typing in my last name cereal box and saving that to my desktop. You will upload this in the Dropbox. This is relevant topic as seen in the following web post on packaging from Procter & Gamble. So let's look at that web post. They are trying by 2020 to reduce the packaging by 20%, to double their recycled resin and ensure 90% of the packaging is recycled. First thing we do in this portfolio is this instructional video. Next thing is type in your last name, first name, just as it is in Connexus. We're asked to locate a cereal box, take a picture, draw a net of the box, and copy this into the Word file. Well, I realized that I did not have a cereal box, but I do have a rice box. So I copied the rice box and into my Word document. This is what I am using as my cereal box. Next, I need to draw a net. The shapes involved are 2 large rectangles and 4 smaller rectangles. When I put them together into a net, connecting all the pieces, this is my net. I'm not worried about the extra flaps. We're just looking at the shown surface area for this project. If I was truly designing this, I would have to look at all of those flaps. So net for my cereal box. Boom. I'm going to save this just to be safe. Done. Next, I have to name the shape. Well, this polyhedron is a rectangular prism. Now I have to record the dimensions. So I get my box out and I measure it. Get my ruler and I see that it is 8 inches high. I write that down. I see that the length is 5 inches. Again, I write that down. And finally, my width is 1.5 inches. And I also write that down. I then record this on my form. Height equals 8 inches. Length equals 5 inches. Width equals 1.5 inches. I am to calculate the surface area. Well, surface area, there's 2 bases plus the perimeter times the height. The area of my base, that big B, so I'm going to go 2, is length times width. So 5 times 1.5. My perimeter is equal to, plus my perimeter, which is 2 times the sum of 5 plus 1.5. And my height is 8. I will put that into my calculator to calculate those totals. Oops, something wrong there. 2 times 5 times 1.5. Why this calculator is not receptive. Plus 2 times the sum of 5 plus 1.5 times 8. And I get 119 inches squared. Next, I'm to calculate the volume. Well, the volume is just base times height. My base is 5 times 1.5, and that gets multiplied by 8. So 5 times 1.5 all times 8 equals 60 inches cubed. Now we have to calculate the cost of the container. And that's going to be the surface area. So the cost equals the surface area times 0.05, which therefore equals 119 times 0.05. Because that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at the volume, we are looking at the surface area. So our cost is $5.95 for this product. Next, I am to name the shape I want to use. Well, I was thinking about the cereal boxes I have, and I thought about the oats box being a cylinder. So I'm going to try a cylinder. Next, I am to draw a net of my new container. Well, a cylinder is a rectangle and 2 circular bases. So my net would look like this, and I am expected to put that into my drawing as well. So net of the new container. Notice I'm just saving it as a Word document at this point. I am to record the dimensions. Well, this I have to think about. I want this to be less. So I'm going to answer the other questions here. I'm looking at the volume of my current item. And with this, I am thinking I still want my height to be 8 inches. Okay, there we go. So I'm thinking I want my height as 8 inches. Now I'd have to find the radius, because that I'm not sure of. So I know my base is pi r squared, and I'm going to multiply that by the height. Now with the 60, to find r squared, I can divide by the product of pi and 8, dividing 60 by the pi and the 8. So 60 divided by the product of pi times 8 pi times 8 equals 2.38. Now that's r squared. So I want to find r. I'm going to take the square root of that answer to get approximately 1.55. So 1.55 inches equals r. And as I said, I selected the height of 8. Just my choice. Now, what we're interested in is, did this reduce the surface area? So 2, my base is a circle, pi r squared, plus the circumference, 2 pi r times the height. So 2 times pi times 1.55 squared plus 2, because we have a radius instead of a diameter, times pi times 1.55 times our height of 8. I did indeed reduce my surface area to 93 inches squared. Now, did I reduce my costs? Of course, because I'm multiplying that by 0.05 to get $4.65. And that is reduced from our original $5.95 to give me $1.30 reduction in cost. You will fill that out on this form. You're going to record the dimensions that we came up with, the radius of 1.55, the height of 8, and you'll put in your surface area, and you'll put in your volume, and you'll put in the calculations for your cost. Again, I just put initials here. You saw the work. You will be putting your work here. We are to write a paragraph then about why my package design is more cost effective. I could start this paragraph by, since the surface area is reduced, the cost is lower. My next sentence would state how that cost is lower, how I'm reducing it with the shape, etc., and so forth. You come up with a paragraph. Paragraph, remember, is at least 3 sentences. State the advantages of your design. This is just bullet point 1. It is more cost effective. It is $1.30 less. 2. What else can you say? 3. What is the disadvantage? Doesn't stack as well, maybe. Look in your mom's shelves. What are most of the items in her shelves? How do they stack? You come up with those reasons. And then you're to make a conjecture about why people use, why most manufacturers would choose to use rectangular boxes, even though you came up with a lower costing shape. That is up to you to write. You will submit. I have to put something in there. You will submit. And I am working, and you will then upload your original form. Hope this was helpful for you into the Dropbox, of course.